Hey, I'm Courtney with a K. Welcome back to my channel. We are going to wrap up the February love series discussing envy today. If you have found any of the videos encouraging, I want to encourage you to like the videos as well as subscribe to my channel. Often our insecurities stem from lack. These feelings of inadequacy can lead us to be envious of others who have what we don't. I want to take a moment to clear up a misconception even I had. You remember back at the beginning of the series, I told you that we are going to discuss jealousy? Well, I found in my research for this video that jealousy and envy do not mean the same thing. We feel jealousy when we are threatened or we have a fear that we're going to lose something that we actually have. Whereas we feel envy when someone else has something that we do not. Oh, she's so pretty. I wish I was as pretty as her. She's so successful. I wish I had her success. We have compared ourselves, our looks, our personalities, our lives to others and have longed to have what they have. Yielding to such emotions can be very harmful, not only to ourselves, but to those around us. Because envy is a dangerous emotion to entertain. So here's how you overcome envy. Number one, acknowledge your feelings. Again, we cannot overcome anything we're not honest about. You cannot conquer what you won't confront. Being envious is an ugly human emotion that many of us will deny having ever experienced. Because we all know that being envious or having envy is a negative quality to have. Many of us, or more so our brains, will have like this, I guess, like an act of self-preservation where it'll try to deny that that is what we're actually experiencing, when in actuality we are, because we'll just kind of convince ourselves that we're just too good of a person to experience those type of feelings, when being envious is a human emotion and we all are human, so we've all experienced it. We cannot fix a problem that we deny having. And so that's why it's so important for us to acknowledge how we feel. Now that you know that you're feeling envious, it's time to get curious. Our feelings tell a story. And instead of feeling shame because we're feeling envious, we should really try to get to the bottom of why we're feeling that way. What story are our feelings trying to tell us about us? Envy is an indication that we are dissatisfied with the area in our lives. These are some questions that you can answer in your journal. What triggered the emotion? What provoked envy within you, and why? Your sister's recent engagement? Or is it your friend who went to Vegas and now she's letting you know that she's on her way to Italy? Or did you scroll on social media and see an influencer's room full of designer? What is triggering the emotion? What is causing you to feel envious? You have to be honest with yourself as to why you are envious. What messages are you telling yourself about the trigger? I know for me, a time where I was actually experiencing envy was during the time that we were trying to conceive. And it seemed like during that 2 years, everyone else and their mama got pregnant. And it was people getting pregnant around me. And I recall where I actually made a note in my phone that there was like 6 people, 6 of my coworkers at my job were expecting a child. And I was envious because they were expecting and I wasn't. You know, I actually journaled how I felt during that time to assist me with processing my emotions. My envy didn't turn, like I didn't entertain it in a way to where it became like I don't want them to have a baby. Like if I can't have a baby, nobody else can have a baby. It wasn't like that. Like being honest and processing my emotions on a personal level allowed me, when I went to God to pray about it, to be free in praying about it and to be honest and to be sincere as to where I was. So I feel that God was able to assist me and was able to, I feel like God was able to kind of really carry me through that season because I was honest, because I identified how I felt. We know that we're experiencing envy, and now we are aware of what that emotion is trying to tell us. So now we're going to change the negative into a positive. So we're going to change our negative thinking into a positive thinking, and we do that by renewing our mind. When we renew our mind, we are exchanging what we think for what God is saying, what God says. And the first thing that God says is that He wants us to be content. It is difficult to be satisfied with what you have if you're focused on what you don't have. And that's why we practice gratitude. When you wake up in the morning, you're going to thank God for 3 things. And when you lie down to go to sleep, you're going to thank God for 3 more things. We're going to keep before us the things that we have and express our gratitude for those things. Keeping a gratitude journal is also a tip. Where you can log what you're thankful for every day. Practicing gratitude assists us in being mindful of what we have, and it assists us in being content. God also wants us to know that anything is possible with Him. His word tells us that we can do all things through Him who strengthens us. So if you're envious of your friend who travels all the time, she gets to get up and go whenever she wants to. Just know that you can do that too. It may require you to work more. You might have to pick up a second job. You're going to definitely have to learn how to manage your money. You're going to have to save. You're going to have to make some sacrifices. But the point is, it's possible. You too can travel as much and as often as you would like. So there's no point in being jealous or envious of someone doing something or having something that you can put in the work and obtain yourself too. And lastly, but this is, I feel, is the most important thing, God wants us to know He has good things for us too. So that means in conjunction and, like, we're not going to be excluded. He is also mindful of us. His word tells us that He has plans to prosper us, to give us hope and to give us a future. And then it goes a step further and it tells us that eyes have not seen, nor have ears heard, nor has it even entered into the heart of man what He has planned and prepared for us. I know that sometimes and in some seasons it may seem like good is being passed out, blessings is getting passed out to everyone around you but you. But what you have to understand is God has something for you too. That God is not limited, that He is the ultimate source. He is the source of all resources. And I know that we can get in the mindset of like things are limited, economy, supply and demand, that there's a limited supply, but there ain't nothing limited. Ain't nothing limited about God, okay? What really helped me understand that God has something for me too, like what really put it in perspective is thinking about it as a parent. And becoming a parent of 2 kids, it's like I love both of my kids the same. And when I say the same, I mean like the measure, how much I love them is the same. I'm going to go to the same lengths. I'm going to, I'm going to make the same sacrifices. I'm going to invest the same time like that. Like I love them both unconditionally, but I love them differently. What I have planned for Cruz may not be what I have planned for Judah. And that is largely in part due to the fact that they're different ages. They're in 2 different seasons of their lives. Cruz is 12, finna go into middle school. Judah ain't even in school. When Cruz gets to the age where he's driving, of course, we'll be looking for a car for him. I'm not gonna get a car for Judah just to appease him because he feels like, oh, well, you don't love me. You didn't get me a car. We have plans to get Judah a car, his first car too. That's the plan, but the timing is different. When Cruz turns 15, Judah will be 5, and it won't be a need for Judah. But in the future, when his time comes, he will also receive a car. So it's just a matter of timing. So there's no point in being envious of other people because you too, God got something good for you too. It's not your time yet. It's not the time. So that really helped me when I gave myself that visual, because I'm a visual learner. But when I gave myself that visual and I realized that, oh, okay, God ain't forgot about me. It's just that it's just not my time yet. It makes you more secure in what God has for you. And then when He comes through with it, it just strengthens your faith in that truth, that what God has for you is for you. The way that God can bless and do good and have good for other people, He has that for you too. And my hope is that once you truly settle in your heart these truths, to be content, that all things are possible with God, and most importantly, that God has good for you too. When you secure those truths in your heart, when you are secure in who you are and whose you are, when you know for a fact that God is going to come through for you, it'll make it easier for you to overcome envy. And I know it rises up. Even now, it still can rise up. Envy can rise up in me. But I know that God is going to come through for me. I wrote that note on January of 2020 and January of 2021, I was conceiving my child that I now have. We're not aware of when our good is going to come or when our time is going to be called. But we just want to make sure that our heart and our minds are in the right place. And so there's no point in being envious about what anyone else has or what anyone else is doing, because your time is coming. You up next.